Good evening, everyone. Our esteemed guest, speakers and participants, and welcome back to the Global Virtual Exchange Summit in 2025. My name is Mr. Wu Shing, and I'm very honored to be your moderator for this panel section. Today, we have an exceptional lineup of expertise joining us to explore the topic of digital competency for future leaders. Okay, so please be reminded that the summit will be recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube for participants and viewers in different time zones. So now we are having three or four speakers in this panel. They are from diverse backgrounds, and please join me to send our warmest welcome to the first speaker. Okay, so the original first speaker is still not yet in this room, so may we now move on to the original second panelist to be our first speaker. So may I invite Dr. Larysa Liashenko from Ukraine to be our first presenter today. Thank you, Dr. Larysa.
Okay, thank you very much for invitation. Yes, I will start my presentation, and will you please allow me to share my screen? May I see if everything is fine?
All right, we have allowed it, so please share your PowerPoint for us. Thank you.
Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen, my presentation?
Not yet.
I just have sent you just a request to let me share my screen. Oh, sorry, let me do it, okay. Oh, I hope you should see right now. Is that okay?
Yes, we can see it right now. Thank you.
Great. Well, so I would like to introduce myself a little bit and to tell that I am really paying attention to COIL for about more than 5 years, and I have a very blissful chance to have a very nice internship in Florida International University with Stephanie Toscher, as well as with Oxford International Group in Great Britain. So they deeply involved me in the COIL methodology or technique or technology educational that I really was greatly impressed by its possibilities for students. Currently, I am a teacher of English for academic purposes in IT faculty at Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev, and I serve as a head of COIL initiatives at this university. So I had some projects with NATO in Ukraine, and I have some projects with 6 universities around the world from different continents. It is Coventry University, Great Britain, then Catholic University in Chile, as well as Santo Thomas University, American University in the Emirates, and I was really very much in Manchester Metropolitan, of course, University, because I have a very blissful opportunity. Since the beginning of war in Ukraine, I have a blissful opportunity to be a part of British educational system of education, and that's why I was deeply involved in understanding the way how they teach their students, and decided to take some hints from them and adapt them into my educational methodology. So I'd like now to share you, here is my topic, which is called Building Digital Resilience Through Intercultural Exchange, COIL for Cyber Risks and Business Intelligence. This is the last module, certified online international learning module, which I prefer to collaborative online international learning modules. And I deeply involved in this idea, and my students from IT faculty, they prepare their research scientific projects, master students, they prepare their research scientific projects, and we try to organize different COIL modules for other students from different countries. So recently I have the experience with India, South America, European continent, Western Europe, Great Britain. So I have some just very interesting results, and I would like to share with you. So what I should speak about, what to achieve with the help of certified online international COIL learning modules. Then my methodology and design of these COIL modules. All this is based, of course, on the constructivist and learner-centered methodology. And I will tell you about two very important and very successful COIL modules, I mean certified online international learning COIL modules, which we have held this semester, last semester. And it has two parts: cybersecurity essentials and cyber risks and business intelligence. And of course, a very nice procedure, which the students were very much enjoyed of. It was the certificate ceremony. So here you can see the main introduction to the project, what we paid attention firstly. And here you can find that students try to learn how to assess security vulnerabilities, reputation risks, and investor confidence factors. Of course, this project focuses on how attackers exploit human behavior. Even it is very important to know psychological approach, psychological influence on personalities, and how to identify the key instrument, how to suppress this negative penetrating into our mindset. Then here you can see this file, you can see this page: academic benefits, intercultural benefits, and professional benefits. Here they are written, but anyway, you should know that, and I should know for the first time, and for me it's like a motto of my whole project: students of IT faculties, they might not be only trainers or project leads, as we are nowadays in our university, but at first they need how to learn in a company, multicultural groups, and how to understand other people's cultures, and how to cooperate together, to collaborate together on the targeted tasks within the module workshops. So it's very important. What to speak about, how to express some ideas about methodology and design. By the way, I would like to here clarify the main difference between certified online international COIL module and collaborative. Our students, my students from IT faculty, they are the project leads. As well as we have with other universities, usually teachers are project leads. In our case, students, master students are project leads, and me as a project as a project chairperson who and as for me, I was responsible for a big picture strategy and representation, while the project lead master students, they are responsible for hands-on daily management and execution. Now, what to speak about methodology and design? Of course, our methodology and the main technology is based on constructivist and learner-centered approach. So everything what is interesting for students, master students in our case, are very just thoroughly discussed with the advisory board. And we have teachers, international advisory board, in which we have Ukrainian academics, professional academics, or experts from business companies, international business companies, and also teachers from other universities whose students participate in our module workshops. They join this advisory international board. And of course, my students, as leaders of the project, they consult with them in every step of their of their trainings. So it is very, especially for us, very important to use concrete experience, then to make a concept of the main idea of the project. And of course, as a result, we should pay attention to the reflective observation. We have performed some questionnaires to see how students really like to dislike this project and what they achieved at the end of this project. Now I can show you these two projects and some ideas connected with certified online international COIL modules. These COIL modules are performed on our platform, which is called Virtual Innovation Research and Technology Community in LinkedIn, and ViraTech it is called, and we here unite with other teachers, academics, professionals for future projects. So everyone, if you wish to have some idea, if you have some ideas with your master students to be realized, we can join you and we can create both just a collaborative certified online international learning project. Here are the institutions, universities which participated in our COIL module. You see here our university, Santo Tomas University in Chile, and Catholic University of Columbia, and American University in the Emirates. And we can see that I just very much greatly, very glad that the first leaders, president of the American University in the Emirates, then president of Santo Tomas University, as well as other universities, they signed the certificates for our students, for our and their students. Of course, we invited people or professionals or experts from business. And here you can see one of them, which is Patience Persendorfer, who is very well just equipped in her knowledge about security and cybersecurity. She conducted a lecture. She was our guest lecturer, and we really presented her a special certificate of acknowledgement for her participation. She was very impressful, and the students were very impressed by her approaches. Of course, we have some lectures from professor from Oxford University, professor from Coventry University, professor from American University in the Emirates, and American Ukrainian cybersecurity company in Ukraine located. Here we had the lecture of the CEO of this company. So what should we say as the result? While analyzing these COIL modules, we understand that some challenges were, which challenges students' engagement, monitoring progress, and unlimited workload hours. And we can have some lessons which we have taken from these modules. Here are some lessons, and here are some key takeaways. So we should work at, of course, the problem. No more than 3 universities should be involved in this project because it's too difficult for all of us to manage the project itself and to check all the exercises and tasks the students perform. But it was also the main key takeaways were flexibility, clear communication, and variable experience, which students really exchange in their international groups. After these projects, our students, the analytical board of our students, they try to make some researches. Of course, we gave them the list of questions, the questionnaire, and students try to analyze the trainees' replies to this questionnaire, and they created such different visuals or infographics that we next time we will use in our articles. So, and I want to tell that 3 of our students published their articles, conference papers, and they participated in the conference in Chile and in Ukraine. Here you can see our advisory board of professors. They are from Chile, from Colombia, Ukraine, from Coventry, and the American University in the Emirates. And here you can see our COIL module team, the project lead, who is responsible, Anastasia, for this project. And here are people who, students who are responsible for trainings, because we had 10 workshops, and they were alive workshops. They performed synchronously, while as well they worked asynchronously together with their teams. But still, we can see here the students who are responsible for analysis of COIL modules, for like a moderator of COIL modules. So all the COIL modules are performed based on the students' abilities and understanding how to perform this COIL module. And of course, certificate procedure. Here you can see the grand event, which we usually meet together. We meet together at our university and try to present our students' certificates online, offline. All our partners joined online, and we could have a very nice ceremony of presenting certificates. Here you can see the results of this work. We performed and presented our results of our collaborative and certified online international learning modules at the internal, external conferences and certificate procedure as well. If you have questions, I would like to answer them. With pleasure. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Shall we give a big hands with a very good presentation? So for the QA sections, we will keep waiting for a while, so that after all presenters have presented their topics, so we will have an overall discussion for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So thank you so much again. So may I also invite another panelist. So the next panelist will be Dr. Nellies Naranjee. May I ask if Dr. Nellies Naranjee here? Yes. Thank you so much. So may I ask if Dr. Nellies Naranjee is here?
Good morning, or should I say good afternoon? Thank you very much for the opportunity to present. And could you please unshare your presentation?
Yes, you may share your presentation right now.
Excuse me, is this question to me?
Yes, may I ask if Dr. Nora, can you stop sharing your screen right now?
Oh, okay. So I may share in our chat, yeah? Yes, let me do it. And here is our COIL LinkedIn group, Iratech. You may join our group here, and we may directly together with you speak very in details about different approaches, because I'm interested in, I'm interested in given chance for students, master students or PhD students to express themselves, not for teachers, but for students, like a platform for students. If you have such a very talented students, we can cooperate together with your students as well. Now let me share the presentation here, sorry. Just excuse me, I need some time. Here it is. So everyone who is interested in promoting your students, in creating some interesting projects together with us, we are very open, friendly, and we want to collaborate with you together. So please join our group Viratech here, and we will speak in details about every question you wish. Now I am flying to Great Britain. I will be there for 2 weeks, and I plan to meet with the COIL coordinator in Leeds, in the University of Leeds. And if you know, Leeds is now creating a COIL community for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So they speak to them as well to plan some.
Excuse me, can anyone hear me right now? Excuse me, can anyone hear me right now? Excuse me, can anyone hear me right now?
Yes, now
I guess
better.
yes, right now. So I'm sorry that yeah, now it's okay right now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, because of the technical problem it still exists, but now it seems okay right now. So our next speaker will be Dr. Nellies Naranjee from South Africa. So please, Dr. Nellies.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much for the opportunity to present and speak today. And my appreciation goes to the organizers. I'm going to start my presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen right now. Thank you. You can go
great.
ahead.
Thank you. So my presentation is on innovative pedagogies for digital leadership. And here I'm looking at integrating design thinking and project-based learning in the age of AI. And I am from the Durban University of Technology. I'm a lecturer in occupational health and infection control. This project was taken through from the infection control, which is a short course program. And we are in South Africa. So it's a short course program. And then we are trying to integrate or bring in design thinking and project-based learning into the mainstream programs. And we are piloting it with the sorry, I just put my video on. Okay, there we go. And we are piloting it with the programs, the short course programs. So hence, we are looking at, can we integrate project-based learning and design thinking, including and with the use of AI especially in the age of AI. So we had to bring in some innovative teaching strategies and into our program. So can we then use these into our mainstream programs? So when we're looking at digital leadership, we all know that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and we are talking lots and lots of things: automation, big data, artificial intelligence. But those things don't solve problems. We also need people who are able to handle and deal with digitalization, and who are leaders, not necessarily experts in technology, but they are able to lead with some kind of adaptability. So this is where the higher education plays this transformative role. So we're looking at digital leadership in the artificial intelligence era. And as I said, it's not just about technical expertise. It includes various things like systems thinking, ethical decision making, human-centered innovation, cross-disciplinary collaboration, which is extremely important in terms of project-based learning and design thinking. So what we're looking at is to build all these form of competencies through some kind of purposeful pedagogy. And when we're looking at pedagogical innovation, we have a lecture-based, the traditional lecture-based instruction. It has its place, but it doesn't prepare students for today's rapidly evolving world. Students, when you lecture, students are passive recipients of the information. So what we needed to find is what type of innovative pedagogy can we bring that can bridge this gap between the information being transmitted, because the only person who knows the information is the lecturer. So when we do traditional lectures, students don't listen. So so we looked at something that's going to be different, where it's experiential, inquiry-based, and student-led, where we bring in the students' voices, the students' experiences within this whole program. And that's where we brought in design thinking and project-based learning. So when we talk about design thinking, it's a human-centered lens. It's structured, it's very iterative, and it's all about problem solving. And when you think about the 5 steps or so of design thinking, we bring in what we call as empathize, and empathize is the student then goes into the community, identifies problems, and looks at problems from the point of view of communities. They then, not only communities, but the user. We use the word user, then we define it. What is the problem? You know, what's happening in this whole scenario? We then ideate. And here is where AI comes in, where we start to bring in and look for ideas. And from those ideating, we then start to prototype. And prototyping could be anything. It could be a piece of paper. It could be a product, a process. We test it, and if it works, we can start to develop it. And here we look at empathy, creativity, and iteration. And the thing is, we don't want students to just learn information within the classroom. We want them to take that information and translate it into something tangible, into something that they can work at. It's just not going to be abstract theories that we are speaking to them about. And then we bring project-based learning, and this is what we learn by doing things. So we take what we learn in the classroom and we bring it out into the real world. And this is very important in terms of employment as well, where we're taking students into the real world, we're bringing in meaningful projects, and we're encouraging deep learning. They take what they learn from the classroom into the learning environment, translate that into something where they come up with a project or solve a problem or something to that effect. And it encourages very deep learning, because students are just not only working within or not only just learning the information, they are working with the information and they're bringing out their projects. It also builds teamwork and leadership skills. And you'll find that there's always a leader amongst them, or one or more leaders, and they come up with different ideas, they come up with different skills, and they own the projects. So they enjoy project-based learning and design thinking to the point where it becomes their own. And when we pair project-based learning and design thinking, they're just not doing projects, they are solving problems that actually matter. So why do we integrate these both pedagogies? We think of design thinking as the mindset and the method, and problem-based learning as the framework. And together, they create the safe space to experiment, the opportunities to connect AI to real-world challenges, and a platform to develop leadership capacity. And because they're working through with these projects, it's trial and error and then something innovative. So integrating AI, we need to shift that conversation from learning about AI to learning with AI. And with this includes AI-assisted research. We look at data-driven decision making. We use our ChatGPTs, our Microsoft Copilots, chatbots, for ideation. And when I spoke about design thinking, I said for ideating, we look at all of these. We also include ethical dilemmas and bias if we in terms of algorithms, and it becomes a tool and a topic for critical exploration. So with the use of project-based learning and design thinking, we are able to assess leadership and we're able to assess learning. Because in traditional exams, in paper-based exams, we don't measure innovation or leadership. It's just factual information that students learn for the moment, and then nothing else happens to it. So we need new tools. Okay, we use reflective journals, we use peer feedback, and we have various rubrics for collaboration, creativity, and ethical awareness. And it's just not only about the product that they eventually bring about, it's the process as well that they involve themselves with. So yes, there are challenges. We have a lot of faculty development needs. We have curriculum overload. We have access to technology, or sometimes now no access to technology. So those are all the different things that we do experience in terms of challenges. But in terms of the solutions, we start small. We start one pilot project, and we use low-tech AI examples, which I will show you just now. And we build cross-disciplinary teaching themes. We don't need perfection, we need progress. So we use a lot of cross-disciplinary themes. We use IT, we use the various experts through. And then we propose a framework built on pedagogical fusion, where we use design thinking and project-based learning together. And we use AI integration as both content and a tool. We look at leadership development through real, authentic challenges. When there are problems and issues, we look at how do people come through in terms of bringing about solutions. It's not a fixed model, but a guide that institutions can adapt. So the capabilities of generative AI are anticipated to evolve, and they're going to expand significantly in the coming years with integration into healthcare and IPC practices. We're talking about infection control practices. And sorry, this whole project is based on the short course in infection control practices. So we're looking at IPC practices. They're going to become increasingly inevitable. So we are taking the initiative to familiarize ourselves with its potential benefits, the applications, limitations, so that we can look at this technological future. So the key takeaways in this whole project is our students must be prepared to lead, not just trained to work. We look at design thinking and project-based learning as powerful methods to teach AI ethically and effectively. AI is here. We're not going to get rid of it. So we have to be able to utilize it effectively. The future of education is active, it's agile, it's aligned with real-world complexities. So let's shape the digital leaders who can think, feel, act with purpose. So in our low-tech AI examples that we use in infection control or develop, it's tools or processes that we use AI principles or basic automation without requiring high-cost complex infrastructure. We often use our cell phones. These are particularly useful in resource-constrained or developing healthcare settings. So we use chatbots for infection control education. What it does, we use scripted AI-powered chat to educate staff or patients about hygiene, PPE usage, or outbreak protocols. We use low-tech, it's a low-tech aspect. It can run on WhatsApp or SMS platforms with very limited data needs. And a WhatsApp chatbot we use is reminding nurses to complete daily hand hygiene training. So AI-driven symptom checkers, and I think all of you or most of you would have used this during COVID-19. We had that screening tool where we could ask a set of questions to see if we have any infectious diseases. It's mobile-based. It can be embedded into hospital intranets or websites like the COVID-19 symptom checker, but some of the projects that have been developed is different symptom checkers. And then we've had some of our problem-based projects using AI and different bases. Thank you for your attention. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Naranjee, for your inspiring presentation. So now, may we warmly welcome our first panelists. So here's Mr. Vicky Daryanani. Okay, so he is physically attend to our conference today, and therefore let us give him a little minutes to prepare well. So he will present with us an interactive presentation. But you still need to use this because the internet room, the Zoom room may need. Yes, but you still need this one as well.
Okay, awesome. Ooh.
Yes, sharing the screen.
Oh yeah, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, perfect. Okay, can I start?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So if I go here, perfect, perfect. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time. I know we're at the end of the day, so I won't take up too much time for the benefit of all, online as well as here in person. So my topic is somewhat related to COIL and virtual exchange, albeit I was told to essentially speak a little bit more holistically about digital competencies for future leaders, more from an HR angle, because that's my background. I've been in HR for over 20 years in the corporate world, as well as a headhunter back in the day. So essentially, I have been part of this journey, like many of you, who have had to navigate this changing technological landscape that a lot of us have to continue to evolve with. Okay, so essentially, I was asked by Anna and Ethan to focus a bit more on what digital skill sets the current leader needs to essentially be an effective leader in this very technological driven world. Okay, quick snippet about myself. I'm Vicky. I currently have two different roles. The way I look at myself is I'm a part-time lecturer at the Hong Kong Baptist University, both in the UGC funded one, which people in Hong Kong would be understanding what I've referred to. That's the one in Kowloon Tong, the campus, where I do teach business communications along with a couple of other HR disciplines. Working under her leadership to work on business communications as well as an HR discipline there. I also look after my own client portfolio in insurance. I work at Prudential, where I'm actually running a team. And so again, need to be a leader to people who work for me, but also directly with my clients. Okay, I'm also actually undertaking a DBA program at the moment, which I discussed with some of you earlier. Okay, so that's me on LinkedIn as well. If anyone wants to connect with me, feel free to reach out to me after that. Okay, so quick one about today's topic. We are going to discuss about digital competencies, focusing on what are the key collaboration skills we all need. And I'm always happy to hear from people online and here as well in the room to understand or add on what I have to share, but also question what I may be speaking about in case you have a differing opinion as well. All right. But the way I look at it is that these competencies must include technological proficiency, data literacy, especially for the more aspiring and upcoming leaders, as well as the ability to adapt to these evolving tools and platforms. So always willing to continue their lifelong journey to be able to add on and reach out to a very differing workforce at the moment, which is getting more and more filled by people from Gen Z, Gen Y, and what I understand in the future will be alpha and beta as well. All right. So essentially, the way I look at it is you obviously need the software as well as the hardware. So the critical thinking won't ever go away. You obviously need the collaboration tools in terms of digital collaboration. Plus, you'll also need, digital communication tools, but you'll also need the mindset of being able to leverage off both your hardware and your software to be able to deliver your messages to the audience, okay? Because the way I look at it is if you are sending information, but it's without meaning, then it essentially is not getting your communication or your message across, all right? So if I focus a little bit more, what is critical thinking? It enables you to continue to analyze the information you have and understand how to best use it and understand how best to leverage off it to be able to first understand and be able to adapt that to the problem at hand, and also perhaps hopefully leveraging off what your past experience is to deal with what may be coming up in the future. Digital communication, now this has obviously evolved continuously. You know, we had a lot of face-to-face learning here in Hong Kong during, well, early on from 2019, where we had a little bit of a bit of a social unrest, but we already started going digitally. And then obviously we had COVID, where many of us were forced to go online and to be able to teach digitally and also work offline, online. But, and, you know, a lot of tools emerged, for example, Zoom, but we've got a lot of different tools, which I'm going to go into in more detail. And finally, the collaboration skills, right? Because now, especially given the COIL and virtual exchange platforms, we're able to deal with a lot of diverse communities. But at the same time, I think that just because we are speaking and including people from Indonesia, from South Africa, anywhere in the world, that doesn't mean we're necessarily staying inclusive, all right? So what I've seen with my own personal experience is that there still tends to be a bit of, say, the local Chinese working amongst each other, being comfortable working amongst each other, and those, for example, in Canada, working amongst each other. But sometimes to cross that divide and make the different groups work collectively, what we've actually had to do is we've had to enforce to make sure that they have not just asynchronous communication, but synchronous communication, where they're having a minimum. For example, I've had 5-week long sessions where they would have had to do a minimum of 3 virtual meetings and record them, so I can actually watch their interaction. And that's part of the overall project outcomes, including the final presentation. Okay, so in this way, yes, it may be a bit forced, but we hope that this at least helps to somewhat get involved into breaking the barrier. So it's still work in progress for us as well in terms of getting the best outcome. And also we do give them a bit of leeway in terms of coming up with their own time zones and the best ways in which what platforms they want to use to have these virtual meetings. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the essential tools and technologies for leaders. Now, at a high level, obviously with the world becoming a lot more complex and a lot more work being done across different time zones and across different countries, you need to ensure you have the right project management tools, obviously the communication platforms, and the data analytical tools. And this is where AI is starting to come really in the foray, right? It's helping us deal with a lot of these different situations and helping us analyze and very quickly deal with a lot of the low-hanging fruits in terms of being able to collaborate, especially more at an administration level. But at a very basic level, what I've personally seen is my usage of online tools grow tremendously. So back in the day when I started working, back in '99, I remember I hardly was using a computer to do any work. I mean, it's just started getting involved with a bit more email exchanges and everything, but it was very, very paper-based, where now everything's on the cloud. You know, you tend to communicate a lot more using technological platforms, and hardly you actually may be doing a lot more face-to-face. Okay, now that's never going to go away. Like for the people in this room, I still think we do possibly get a lot more non-verbal communication than what we would do purely on a virtual format. But nevertheless, now the world is essentially getting smaller, albeit with a few more political situations and differences, albeit a lot of us do need to work more globally, and basic platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, WhatsApp, Line, Slack, that's a great tool that I use, especially in my last job, which I found to be very collaborative and able to get everything onto one platform. Padlet, that's the one tool that I've used along with Ethan out here in Hong Kong, which has helped me to really get the students to use the full platform for all aspects of their outcomes. And obviously social media, right? So a lot of people have started to leverage off social media, where there's now quite a fine line between what may appear professional, what may appear personal. But given the future generation, which is getting younger and younger in terms of both consumers as well as colleagues, perhaps social media needs to be looked at in a more professional platform, given the high level of usage that they do leverage off. Obviously, I've left out LinkedIn over here, but that's something that I've leveraged off greatly in the past, and I still continue to do so, which obviously has a very extensive network. Moving into why we need to start looking at getting things done a lot more online, a lot more digitally, is because of the data-driven decision making. You know, back in the day when we were working, a lot of us, based on experience, based on intuition, we were coming up with a lot of decision making, and that will never go away. I think some of your core leaders will have to sometimes make very difficult decisions, sometimes based on certain intuition. But I think that's also very much driven by some experience that they've gained. Now, the leaders that, I mean, the future leaders that are joining the workforce now, they don't have that much experience. They will eventually get some more experience, but what AI does and what a lot of the online collaboration does is help make this data-driven process a lot more straightforward, a lot more easier. And this data-driven decision-making can supplement the intuition decision-based decision-making, where I think a lot of leaders now combine both sets before they are able to make decisions, depending on how much time they have to make that decision, right? So keep in mind that the data-driven decision-making is getting a lot more powered through online collaboration and the usage of such ongoing and growth of tools, especially AI. So we go to AI and the integration of it in leadership. It's actually been a really short journey, right? I mean, suddenly it's in everyone's mindset. A lot of people, a lot of the new graduates are a little bit worried about it. Will they have jobs in the future because of AI? We don't even know the long-term impacts about it. But essentially, if you think about it, generative AI, at least from a holistic consumer perspective, came out in November 2022, I think, all right? And yes, people started to hear about it, and there were some early adopters, but it was really back in early 2023 where it started to really make a splash, not just for us in the education field, but commercially as well, right? So there was initial adoption. There were people who were starting to let leaders know about it, focusing on helping, you know, the efficiency gains you can get from it. Now we go into mid to late 2023. So this is a year and a half ago. We're talking about an increased reliance on AI for data-driven decision-making. So I would say by mid to late 2023, a lot of people have already actually used it, and a lot of leaders were looking at the advantages of it. Now, I would say last year, there was a real growing awareness, not just of the efficiencies, but also the ethical implications of what can be done and what essentially could be the pitfalls of over-reliance on AI, okay? So again, the leaders had to maybe pull in the reins a bit to say, okay, it's great what it can do, but what are the ethical implications? You know, how much do we rely on it? What are the, you know, privacy laws about this? And look at that, because this is a really new area that they had to think about. So whilst it's been great that a lot of leaders have had to encourage people taking on this new reskilling or upskilling of their own sets, they've also had to step back and also look at the implications of what is being taught, or what are these new skills that their workforce is going to be taking on. You know, are they what are some of the mistakes that we should be preventing ourselves getting into, especially from a more legal or ethical standpoint? And now in 2025, I think a lot of firms, if not already, have started implementing a lot more concrete, or what should I say, somewhat fluid or semi-fluid ethical guidelines and frameworks, because it's still ongoing, it's still quite new in the journey for leadership use, and also looking at essentially trying to reach certain sustainable goals in terms of lifelong learning, but at the same time, making sure you have that responsibility at the back of your mind in terms of not taking full advantage of what's out there, but nevertheless treading with caution, but also making sure you do push yourself to keep up with competition, if not stay ahead in terms of what is out there, and in terms of being able to reach out to the changing needs of the consumer, which is also very AI-centric at the moment. So if I was to say from an HR perspective, if I just threw a quick angle in as an example or a case study, we have in HR, at least what I've seen in HR, I actually stopped working in the corporate landscape once generative AI came in. So I've not seen the full front of it, but based on what I hear and based on what I at least read about online, it's been adopted holistically in terms of, say, areas like talent acquisition, where people are using a lot more gaming, using AI, where essentially the first 2-3 rounds of screening are fully AI driven, where the video interviewing is done, where you've got AI chatbots or tools that are actually sifting through CVs, looking for keywords and helping do a lot of the initial screening already. So by the time you've got your recruiters actually speaking to people, it's already a third round of screening. Okay. Then obviously you've got the talent management, where people are starting to leverage off AI a lot more better in terms of a higher employee engagement, for the employee to really have a much more satisfying journey through the company, especially given a lot of people are still working on a hybrid mode. Now, of course, there's been a lot of pushback in terms of, at least this year and end of last year, towards people coming back to the office, okay, especially in the Western world. But nevertheless, there's still a huge number of people globally that still do a bit of, work at least 1, maybe 2 days a week from home. So their level of engagement, to keep them continue to be tied up with changes in not just the marketplace, but even in terms of training, also in terms of what's going on in the company, is a lot more sometimes supported by AI and the ability for it to be able to reach out to the employees so that they can have a better journey in terms of their digital learning. Challenges in adopting digital competencies. I think a lot of us know quite a few about this. Obviously, resistance to change. People like myself, I was a late adopter of generative AI. I had a lot of questions about it. I didn't know, what was true, what was fake, what never, for example, this presentation itself is generated somewhat by AI as well, if not a fair bit by AI as well. So what it can do. So I was definitely one of the resistance to changes. And that continues to be a case, especially for some of the Gen X that are still in the workforce. Many of them still do not have the time nor the patience to necessarily want to build up their knowledge of the AI. Okay. Of course, they've had to adjust themselves. They still have questions. There's still different glimpses of what they want to do and what they want to take on. But of course, that's something that needs to, in my personal opinion, come from management top down, so that it is also, I wouldn't say not only encouraged, but sometimes even enforced, so people can take it on, so that they understand the different benefits that can be achieved, okay? Lack of resources. I would say that the bench strength in a lot of companies is quite limited still. A lot of people do not know the full advantage of what AI can do, which is why a lot of graduates now, the best advice I could give them is to be really up to skill with your AI knowledge, so that you can really immediately add value to your fellow colleagues and be able to add a productivity, which perhaps some of the people may not even be aware of, who are interviewing you, or some of the people who are going to be working alongside with you. Now, of course, your ability to express that through an interview might still be challenging, unless it's a bit of more of a practical interview with some competency tests. Last but not least, insufficient, still have limited budget, and again, limited time to be able to train their folk. They expect their folk and their staff to be able to pick these skills up just because they're so basic now that everyone's talking about AI, for them to pick it up themselves or through the weekends or after work. But a lot of people don't necessarily have the time, because a lot of them want to still keep up with their basic work. But if you're able to show them the benefits of being able to adopt this to help provide them with strong productivity tools that can help really make a direct impact, at least in the short to medium term, then that's something that they may get a bit more proficient in, and they may be able to see the direct benefits for themselves. But of course, it will take time. And I think, okay, yes, sorry. I just want to go back a couple of last slides for me. Strategies for continuous learning and adaptation. So definitely, sorry, this is all three together. Participating in online courses, obviously it's a plus. There's just an unlimited amount of opportunities out there. But personally speaking, I think a lot of people may be a bit discouraged by the amount of vast of knowledge out there. So if there are sessions where companies are able to do lunch and learn sessions, they're able to incorporate that into the workplace, they're able to actually provide some sort of tuition support for people to take that on board. So I think that's something that would go a long way to encourage people to actually take that as part of their work. Attend workshops, again, maybe during a lunch and learn session, and also learning from each other, right? I love the fact about open source where people can share different ideas, learn from one another, take different things on board. And if you have someone in your workplace that already is quite an early adapter of this, and they're able to showcase what can be done, that's something that you should leverage off, and something that you should invest in, especially if you're a leader, because you yourself can learn from that. And being a leader is also being able to encourage this positive behavior. All right, so last but not least, I just wanted to connect that the way I look at it, digital literacy, the ability to innovate yourself, the ability to take on the good and the bad of AI, I think has got a lot to do with quality education, lifelong learning, lifelong teaching. So being able to be open to always continuously change, innovate yourself, because unfortunately we've come to a situation where now it's not even a choice anymore. We have to adapt to be able to remain relevant, especially in this the way I view it, very technical or technological slant that's been adapted or added to this commercial or even our own world in terms of the education field. And also, of course, in terms of industry innovation and infrastructure, I personally foresee major impact happening. And I think some of my fellow co-presenters spoke about that. For example, in areas like medicine, there could be global changes and very big significant changes that could be adapted through the use of AI. So I think in terms of goals 4 and goal 9, I do personally see quite a lot of positive impact. And last but not least, embracing digital competencies for future success. These upcoming leaders in the future, we need to make sure that they understand the need to be able to remain fluid and always be open to adapt and change and to be lifelong learners, because that's something that is, I think, a must at this moment to be able to adapt quickly. And it's fine to make mistakes, and as long as you are able to then realize that and then maybe change course, okay? So emphasizing the need for emphasizing the need for adaptability and a commitment for lifelong learning must come from the top down. I think it really needs to be encouraged and influenced and also supplemented by managers, all right? And of course, if you have the right people who are peers where you yourself recognize that they have got certain skills, reach out to them so you can, ask them for some support and ask them for some help, because maybe they've been able to learn that offline or outside of the workforce. So you can also be able to learn and maybe bring that up to your leader so that you let them know that, maybe we all need to learn this and we can all benefit from it together. So it doesn't always have to be top down. It can also be encouraged from bottom up. So we need to ensure that our leaders are willing to take this on and adjust themselves. But at the same time, this is one aspect of it. I think that critical thinking and that ability to put things together, just because you've got the tools doesn't mean you're able to lead. You need to be able to leverage off AI in the right way, off the digital communication tools and the competency tools to be able to get the best out of it. Understand that mistakes will happen, encourage the change, encourage people to learn and make those mistakes, but also learn together and be able to reflect on it so that we all continue to adapt and make the organization go holistically. Yeah, so that's me in terms of my presentation. Thank you. So I'm going to pass it back to the moderator in case there are any questions from the floor here, if not online. Oh, sorry. Should I just pass it from? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers. I guess if we take the Prezi down, we might be able to see some of the other speakers.
Sure.
But I'll start with Vicky and then work backwards. But it was something that Vicky said about. First of all, can I congratulate everyone? We're all great talks. and a lot of food for thought. Vicky said that critical thinking won't go away, and I'm not so sure. I don't know if anybody learns. Hello. Oh, together. I don't know if anybody uses Duolingo, for example. Does anybody learn a language with Duolingo?
My son does.
Well, yeah, my wife's been doing French for 5 years, Duolingo. She is brilliant at Duolingo French, but can she speak French? Well, not very well. So my point is that, you know, learning AI can, and on its own isn't going to secure critical thinking, I would argue. Can I just ask Vicky a question? I don't mean any, I'm not trying to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You said some of the presentation was developed by AI.
A lot of it was.
Including the imaging?
Including the imaging.
The last image? With the blazers, the boys and the blazer and
yeah.
So you took, sorry, and this isn't meant as a criticism, it's just because it's late.
You're absolutely right. There's a kid photos,
but
Privacy.
you know, you talked about upcoming leaders in the photo, but I noticed one, they were all wearing blazers, and two, there were no women in there. Now, if that's an AI photograph, a human should have spotted that and thought, no, that's the wrong photo.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, and again, no, I'm not trying to be critical, but I'm trying to.
It's amazing that you brought up none of the other women in the room.
But to be critical, and then it sort of links in with Nellie's point. Nellie. We've already moved from industry 4.0 to 5.0. We're now in the age of 5.0, which is that collaboration of human and advanced tech with AI and robotics that you were talking about. But the key thing, my key question for Nellie is that 5.0 emphasizes human well-being, societal value, and even though you discussed ethics and ethical awareness, I really would like to know more about where ethics sits within this whole process. You gave a very good sort of almost like a Venn diagram, but I wondered where the third element surely has to be the ethical element, and that has to go hand in hand with everything we do. Just because we can do something doesn't necessarily mean we should do it. Maybe I should stop there.
I don't think
Oh, he left. She left already. Was she the first one?
Second.
But it was that, or maybe some of the other.
I think it's because she was also talking, and
it was with,
yeah.
I guess with the healthcare and infection context, you know, I just wondered about the ethical dimension.
So maybe I'll tackle the first part, because in terms of the ethical side of things, I do think it's an ongoing dimension that needs to be reviewed and looked at. But maybe I'll look at the first one. So thank you for bringing that up. I think it's a fair point. It's something that, you know, I'm just glad there was some different minorities also represented in that photo. If they were all white boys, then I think it would have been a little bit too much. Personally, in terms of your point about Duolingo, which is a really good example, I think it's also been found out to be a little bit addictive because of the streaks and the fact that
AI is going to be completely addictive,
right,
to the point where I do think that we need to go very carefully with students and with you know, in schools, because once and also, when are they going to start charging? I mean, at the moment it's free. This feels like a loss leader.
It's free because they're collecting our data.
And then at some point, maybe, I mean, I'm not saying they will, but you know, when we're all hooked, you know, they'll start charging. And
we're already all hooked.
Yeah. So there's so many different formats of AI at the moment. I mean, and I'm a fairly novice person. I've definitely not been an early adopter. So, you know, initially, obviously, ChatGPT was out there. If I'm not mistaken, I think ChatGPT charges about $20 US for its most updated version. But there's so many different, like one I use personally is Perplexity. I find it to be extremely good. Then the other ethical considerations, there are a lot of people who say that if you overuse AI, because the amount of environmental damage each search does can be pretty aggressive. But then at the same time, I look at, and I think that to myself, and I'm like, well, if I search anything, even on Google, the first thing it does is an AI, summary or something of the sort. So I'm like, where does that fall? But just to your point about critical thinking, it brings up a really important dimension, because I teach business communications in university, and that's a lot more of the soft skills. Okay, so it's not very theoretical. It's really about how you present yourself and how you connect with people. So what I always tell people is, for now, and I highlight the fact, for now, soft skills is your advantage. Your ability to network, your ability to reach out to people, your ability to connect with them on a verbal and non-verbal perspective is paramount, because this is something that, in my personal opinion, AI has still not got into grips with. Yes, the hard skills, the technical skills, possibly the critical thinking is some of that which is already started to go in. Okay, so, and I think given it's generative, it will continue to learn, right? So, I don't know if you've actually gone some of the videos of how extensive or comprehensive or sophisticated some of these chatbots are. But it's like, if you're making a reservation with a restaurant, you don't even realize that's actually a computer you're speaking to, because it's so adaptive to be able to deal with, okay, do you want a corner table? How many people? Do you have any allergies or anything of the sort? But you're not even sure. And again, the person asks, oh, am I talking to the robot? And then in a generative automated tool or something, they don't agree to the word of the use robot. So it's just extensive, even hotel bookings for now. So the potential is unlimited. I agree with you to some level. I do think the critical thinking will be caught on, but I'm not sure to what level. I still think you do maybe need, for now, some leverage of human being to be able to get the best of it.
Isn't there a danger that this just becomes another form of colonization of knowledge? AI. I'm just being, devil's advocate here, but AI can only work with what it's fed, and currently it is fed a particular body of knowledge, so it's working with that, which will then be self-repeating. So, and then now Marie's going to describe, this is why I love working with Maria.
No, because it can search. Yeah, and its capabilities in terms of being able to search are growing exponentially. So it's not just confined to, say, one silo. It's learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning all the time, 24 hours without sleeping, without falling sick.
Well, I have been.
Yeah, we both got off the phone this morning.
Yeah.
Without suffering from jet lag.
Yeah, so, no, it's, I mean, I know that we are talking specifically about generative AI here, but, I think I said to you maybe a couple of years ago now, Alex, about robots and about robots being given citizenship. Like, I know Dubai, or it's one of the countries out in the Middle East. Oh no, it's actually, sorry, my mistake. It's Saudi Arabia. They've given citizenship to Robot Sophia, and Robot Sophia can do things like make jokes and interact in a way that is actually quite human-like. So, and so what's driving her is AI. So, haven't looked for a couple of years to see how she has progressed, but at that particular stage in her life, if you like, she was a child at that stage.
Wow.
Who's to say what she's like now?
Yeah.
I still use an old AV1 that they used to use in the hospitals.
Yeah. Brilliant. I'll pass it back to the moderator. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you so much for everyone's input. So it's a really a fruitful presentation and also a lot of discussion. So I know most of you want to discuss keep going, but we need to stop here. Sorry. So as we approach the end of our sections, I'd like to take a moment to thank each of our panelists for sharing their invaluable insights and experience with us today. Thank you so much for everyone. So I appreciate everyone's participation, and I hope you enjoy the upcoming section of the summit in tomorrow, of course. So of course, we also value your opinions, and therefore please fill out the feedback form as showing on the screen right now. So don't forget to leave your request for COIL collaboration if you have any on our matching Padlet. So we sincerely invite you to join our keynote speakers and panels again tomorrow. So we still have a fruitful schedule tomorrow. So that's the end of the section today. So thank you so much again for your coming and your participation. Thank you.
So Robotophia made in Hong Kong, 2016. Yeah.